Hello and welcome back to Arsenal Domination. And my goodness, does a wind cure a lot of ills? As the wind howls around my house this evening, reflecting back on the howls of rage at Arsenal this season, uh, lowering and starting to sort of quieten down, which I think can only be good news for us. As you can tell, although it's nearly 48 hours after the event, I think Arsenal can be very satisfied with their performance at the weekend against Forest. I will quickly review that game and give my thoughts on it and look ahead to the Sporting game on Tuesday evening. And I think this is probably Arsenal's best performance of the season when we look back on it. You know, big surprise in team selection. I think that will have ramifications for the Sporting game. Um, I think if anyone predicted that starting 11, they either know Mikel Arteta very, very well or are lying to you. Um, but with the return of the injuries that I talked about before the game, came some changes. Came Mikel Arteta using the squad. And he spoke about it after the game about how that has helped the side, how having that extra intensity as a result of having more first team players available for training has really sort of carried over into the match. And I think we saw that. I mean, I talked about the importance of releasing the handbrake before the game, and again, Arsenal saw that. You know, Martin Odegaard makes a big difference, of course. Um, but I think that sort of more attacking intent, that freer bit of play, and that bit of belief that comes from having competition for places again, as well as some of your best players back, really sort of showed. And I think it led to a big difference between ourselves and Forest on the day, and it was reflected in the scoreline. You know, Jorginho came in, he played 45 minutes before being replaced by Thomas Partey after that yellow card. I thought he showed control. Maybe some control we'll see on Tuesday if he starts. Back line looked very, very good. Ben White, of course, out, but Jurien Timber coming in and showing what a good player he is. Um, and arguably our strongest back four. It looked controlled for us, very rarely threatened. Allowed us to play higher up the field and to explore that intent. You know, I think Trossard has been poor in recent weeks. I think probably the right start. I mean, I would have gone for Martinelli. I said so beforehand, but you know, I think I should have been a bit clever. And Mikel Arteta showed maybe that he is starting to trust this squad a little bit more, and realizes that you know the intensity of the coming weeks, he's going to have to use the squad a little bit more. And this was a horses for courses selection. Forest were going to sit deeper and try and hit on the counter attack. That denies space, and of course Trossard on the left, which is my favourite position, always has been for him. He's that little bit of a cleverer player than Martinelli, and that's maybe what you need in against sides that are going to deny you space. Martinelli, of course, will like to run at tired defences or run in behind space. That'll probably be more useful on Tuesday. But Trossard able to operate in those tighter spaces and unlock a defence along with, you know, the likes of Martin Odegaard. Thought Moreno brought some balance to that midfield as well on the in the left eight role in the absence of Declan Rice, who, while on the bench, was apparently not fit or available really to play. He was just part of the match day squad. You know, Gabriel Jesus started, still without a goal since January in the league. That needs to change. That needs to change fast. But he worked hard again today. And all round a very, very good performance. I say today, it's 2 days ago. Um, you know, Arsenal winning 3-0. Um, you know, the first goal, as it were, disallowed. Jurien Timber. What a nice moment that would have been if he'd got that goal. Moreno just fractionally offside, right decision, very tight. But again, just shows what a threat he might well be. Now he's settling into his side more. But, you know, Arsenal looking threatening, and no real surprise really when Saka with a lovely, lovely goal off a outrageous bit of skill from Martin Odegaard. That lovely little flick that he did. The telepathy between those two has been missed in recent weeks. And Saka, you know, running sort of across that 18-yard box, right to left, and firing it in from inside the penalty area, gave Arsenal a deserved lead, and one that they probably should have at least doubled before half time. And when you reflect on the season so far, you're probably looking at it going, oh crikey, you know, are we gonna have another nervy second half here? Are we gonna do something silly? But no, out came the Arsenal again in the second half, and Thomas Partey on for the book Jorginho, who I said I thought actually had a good game by the booking. She maybe a tad unfortunate to get. Does something we know Thomas Partey is capable of, but we haven't really seen a lot. And long range, lovely effort, just curling away from the goalkeeper who stood no chance. And a reward for Thomas Partey for what has been an excellent season so far with that goal. Arsenal quietened off after that. Maybe a bit of tired legs, maybe just a little bit of, not complacency, but, knowing that they'd done enough with Tuesday in mind. East through the game, Arsenal made the changes. We saw Raheem Sterling come on, he got an assist. We saw Zinchenko get some minutes. But the star from the bench, obviously, Ethan Nwaneri, came on, instantly made an impact with that shot just wide before, getting on the end of Sterling's cutback to score his first Premier League goal and his fourth of the season in all competition for Ethan Nwaneri, and become Arsenal's second youngest goal scorer ever. He's looking a real talent. I might do a video on him later in the week. But yeah, he's looking special. And Arsenal, in Mikel Arteta's 250th game, I think, can be very, very satisfied. Mikel's 147th win. And we just need to now generate some momentum from this, don't we? I think spoke about how the next 7 Premier League games are much, much easier than the start of the season. Need to generate momentum, get some wins on the board. And if we do that, we'll close the gap to Liverpool, who, of course, as I record this on Sunday evening, just about saw off Southampton today to keep that lead as it was. But they've got a tough run coming up. We've got an easy run coming up. We need to hope they drop points, but we can only concentrate on what we concentrate on and try and get some wins behind us. And that leads us nicely into our next game, as I say. Kai Havertz almost completely rested. Well, completely rested. He was on the bench, unused. Declan Rice, unsure on whether he's fit, but again, didn't get any game time, so he will be fit. Partey only played 45 minutes. Saka and Odegaard both came off. Martinelli not used, and you start to see actually just how deep this squad really is when you mention all those players that either came off or didn't play a full game or didn't play at all in that game. I think that's a good sign. But Sporting on Tuesdays, it's a difficult game for Arsenal. Sporting won comfortably there against Manchester City. Okay, Manchester City struggling at the moment. I don't think we knew how much they were struggling when they lost that game. Victor Gyökeres is going to be key up front. But of course, they've lost their Mercurial manager who's done so well for them. He's now at Manchester United, and not the start he'd have hoped for away at promoted Ipswich today. Sporting promoted within. You wouldn't expect to see them too much difference, but let's see what they are made of on Tuesday. And Arsenal should go there full of confidence. I think a draw is not the end of the world, but I think you've got to go there looking for the win. Build on this Forest game, play in a very similar manner. Might be slightly more defensively cautious, but not to the point where you need to sort of have 2-3 holding midfielders on the pitch. Go there and show that intent, show that intensity that we saw on Saturday, and take the game a little bit to Sporting. And if you do that, Arsenal are the better side, and they are capable of going there and getting a win. If they were to follow up with that Forest win, with the win in Sporting in the Champions League, that puts them well placed to finish in the top 8. We know how crucial that will be, saves 2 games. And, again, I keep talking about it, but momentum. Build some momentum, and I think if they do that, we could be right in all 4 competitions come the turn of the new year. And some really nice decisions coming up from Mikel Arteta about what's he going to do because of how well some of those fringe players played today. The likes of Jorginho, Nwaneri coming in. Jesus, well, he didn't get the goal. Wasn't horrific. Raheem Sterling got an assist. Moreno, if Rice isn't fit, you'd expect him and Partey, but does Jorginho play? Decisions again for Arteta. I think for me, I play Jorginho and Moreno. I like that midfield too that we saw in the first half, particularly. I think that's going to be important in Europe, that control that Jorginho brings, and that leaves Partey, fully fit for the weekend and an Arsenal next Premier League game. I think Havertz will probably come back in. Maybe Martinelli in for Trossard, so 2-3 changes potentially. But what options you'd have off the bench in that scenario? Trossard, Nwaneri, Sterling, Jesus. I think it's exciting, guys. Really is. and looking forward to the game. I will speak to you in the week. I hope the week will treat you well. Um, please do help me out, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm new to this. This one won't have a thumbnail because I've got to go to work tomorrow morning, and I will probably upload this very early tomorrow morning. But yeah, hopefully the next time you'll hear from me will be after a big 3 points away for Arsenal in the Champions League. Speak to you soon, guys. Cheers. Bye.